Check-in, check-out, a team-based intervention shown to significantly reduce problem behavior and increase academic engagement. Check-in, check-out is easy to implement, cost-effective, and heavily supported by research. It improves structure and rapport by prompting the teacher to provide daily feedback about the student's behavior while enriching the relationships between students and staff through frequent positive interactions. Embedded within Check-in, Check-out is the unique element of a homeschool partnership where parents and staff collaborate to improve the educational outcomes of students. This tutorial provides you with a practical example of what Check-in, Check-out looks like, tips for intervention development, and suggestions for data collection. It offers many free resources including a daily progress report form, a spreadsheet for data collection, and discussion topics for intervention development, which can all be freely downloaded by clicking on the Google Drive link in the description. I'm Tim McIver.
And I'm Brennan Ross.
And we are co-developers of this Check-in, Check-out video tutorial. The student's day starts off with a morning check-in with a member of the school staff. This staff member is called the coordinator and is someone other than the student's teacher. The coordinator is the team member who completes the AM check-in with the student at the beginning of the day and checks out with the student at the end of the day. The teacher meets with the student at the end of each period on the check-in, check-out form. It also allows you to incorporate teachers during specials. Here is an example of the AM check-in. The coordinator in this example is the school's counselor.
Good morning, Samuel. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. So yesterday you told me you were going to the new Avengers movie with your dad. How was it?
I loved it.
Cool. I'll have to check it out. So I see you have yesterday's point card with you. And you have parent's signature. Great. Here is today's point card. What would you like to work on?
Being respectful, responsible, and safe.
That sounds great. So you were being respectful while you were waiting patiently for me to get today's point card. So that's 2 points. You were responsible by having your point card out today without me having to ask. So that's 2 points. And you were also safe because you kept your hands and feet to yourself while you walked in. So that's another 2 points. You are already at 6 points for the morning, which is a great start. Yesterday your goal was 28 points. So what would you want your goal to be today?
30 points.
That sounds awesome. Okay, keep it up, Samuel. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Building rapport with the student is a key component to this intervention. As you saw, the counselor connects with the student through a conversation about his interests. The check-in with the student is a quick interaction, about 1 minute. You may have noticed Samuel received points for showing good behavior right off the bat. This starts the student's day on a positive. The counselor also gives specific feedback when explaining how Samuel was being respectful, responsible, and safe. I bet you also caught on to the fact that the counselor gives Samuel the opportunity to set his own goal for the day. This helps secure buy-in from the student.
Here's an example of teacher feedback after the reading block.
Okay, class, go ahead and get started on the first problem on your math sheet for me. Samuel, can I see your chart? So Samuel, how do you think you did during reading today?
Good.
I noticed that you got to work right away when I asked you to, so that was a great job. I'm going to give you 2 points for being responsible. And how were you safe during reading?
I stayed in my seat during reading.
Yes, you did. So how many points do you think you earned for being safe?
2 points.
I would agree. You did a great job, 2 points. Samuel, I noticed you were whispering to a partner during quiet reading. So I'm going to give you a 1 for being respectful. And next time, can you read quietly by yourself?
Okay.
Great job, Samuel. Keep it up.
Notice this time the meeting between Samuel and his teacher is brief and to the point. During the interaction, specific feedback is given about the student's behavior. The teacher can document this feedback in the additional comments section on the form. When reviewing behavior that did not meet the teacher's expectations, the goal is to focus on how the student can improve. While the teacher is providing corrective feedback, it should be both positive and encouraging. This is not about punishing students for misbehavior. The teacher should instead provide an example of how the student can improve for next time. Regardless of how many points the student has earned, the overall interaction should be positive.
At the end of the day, each block has been completed and the coordinator checks out with the student.
Hi, Samuel. How was your day?
Pretty good.
Good. Well, it looks like you did an awesome job. Your teacher wrote that you got right to work in reading and math. What areas did you have a harder time with?
Reading, I was talking to my friend for a little bit.
All right. Well, in reading tomorrow, what could you do?
I can stay quiet while working.
Okay, good.
This is another quick and positive interaction between the counselor and the student. While reviewing the progress report, the counselor asks Samuel how his day was and determines whether or not he reached his goal. In addition, the counselor points out the subject areas he did well in, along with any positive comments from the teacher. The counselor also asks the student what areas he struggled in. Then together, they discuss any problems the student may have encountered and brainstorm ways to improve for next time.
Well, it looks like you made your goal. Great job, Samuel. Make sure you show your progress report to your dad, okay?
I will.
All right, have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
An important element to this intervention is parent involvement. At the end, notice how the counselor encourages the student to take home his progress report and review it with his parents. Parents should then review the form in a similar fashion by highlighting the strengths of the day as well as talk about ways for improvement.
Students who are attention-seeking and not responding to Tier 1 school-wide behavior expectations are great candidates for check-in, check-out. The intervention is most effective for students who display more minor inappropriate behavior, such as blurting out, being off task, and not completing their work. For students who are in crisis or are exhibiting more severe behavior, such as threatening the safety of others, a more intensive intervention is recommended. It is best to form a team to develop the check-in, check-out intervention as well as review the data on a weekly or bi-weekly basis. In this student's graph, the red represents the student's daily points and the blue represents the student's daily goal. You'll notice that the student continues to not meet his goal. If this happens, the team should consider decreasing the goal to be more realistic. The team may also consider implementing a reward system in order to increase student motivation. The next week, the student reaches his goal 4 out of 5 days. This new goal is effective in that it's both challenging and realistic. 2 weeks later, the student is consistently achieving his goal. At this point, the team may discuss fading the intervention. One example of fading is to reduce the number of blocks where the teacher provides feedback to the student. After you've slowly faded the intervention and the student continues to show appropriate behavior, the team may decide to graduate the student from the intervention. One of the free resources provided is an Excel spreadsheet that can generate a graph and a report of the data you collect. Separate tutorials on how to input the data and modify the form can also be found by clicking on the Google Drive link in the description. Check-in, check-out fosters a positive school environment for students, teachers, and the class as a whole. It produces effective results that lead to greater self-confidence and more success.